All right, guys, let's talk about China and Latin America, more specifically, Brazil. Brasilia. Take a listen. Okay, señores y señoras, or mi gente, something to that extent. 大家好. Let's talk about China. So, first off, guys, obviously, lots and lots of chaos still occurring in China, or should I say in Hong Kong, or as they say in Mandarin, Xianggang. And what is happening there, guys? So, riots are continuing to break out, and I've been reading that there is continued, or should I say, I've been reading that China is looking at getting, let's see here, PLA involved. That's the People's Liberation Army. That is military forces. It looks like they might be trying to get military forces involved. And I'm not quite sure if that is accurate or not. I'm actually trying to find some information on it. Oh, wow. And it basically one thing that for sure has been going on is the violence has been escalating. So as the protests continue, the violence has continued to escalate throughout the area. And there's more and more videos of people being shown being beaten by police. And you know what? Who knows where this is going to go? But it looks like the people of Hong Kong are not giving up. That's for sure. So we'll have to continue and see where this goes. Let's talk about Belt and Road, guys. Belt and Road. Here's a headline. China-Latin America cooperation neither directed against nor affected by third party. Chinese foreign minister. China-Latin America cooperation is in line with the needs of both sides and is neither directed at third parties nor affected by third parties, Chinese State Councilor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi said on Thursday. While meeting with reporters with the company of his Brazilian counterpart, Ernesto Arroyo, Wang also said that China pursues all-round diplomacy and is willing to develop friendly and cooperative relations with all countries in the world. So I've read previously about how they've been getting involved with South America, and I also talked about how they have a lot of stuff going on in Panama, and they own lots of ports in Panama. So now we get to talk about Brasilia. He says he noted that in 2014, Chinese President Xi Jinping attended the first leaders' meeting of China and the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States in Brazil. The two sides decided to establish a comprehensive cooperative partnership of equality, mutual benefit, and common development, and announced the establishment of the China CELAC Forum. CELAC is the China Community of China and the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States. Over the years, the joint efforts by both sides, China-Latin America cooperation, has continued to expand and deepen, maintaining a momentum of sound development and is embarking on a new path of trans-regional cooperation that is keeping in the trend of the times and meets the interests of all parties, he added. Wang said the most distinctive feature of the China-Latin America cooperation is equality and respect. He said that China's cooperation with Latin American friends is marked by treating such others as equal and caring for each other's core interests, adheres to respecting each other's choice of political system and development path, and insists on not interfering in internal affairs of other countries, regardless of the size of the country, the similarities and differences between the system. So that is a direct attack on U.S. policy in the past. So U.S. and Western policy tends to be focused on the internal politics of given countries, such as, are they a democracy? Are they aligned with the United States or not? I've said before, China does not concern itself with such matters, and it looks like it's to their advantage. So China does not pretend to give a shit about a country being a democracy, as they shouldn't. They're not a democracy. Why would they care about that? All they tend to worry about is cash. They dish out the cash. Other countries want to take the cash, so they work with China. The U.S., we have more of an ideological stance, and even then, that's hard to tell, because we tend to do things that don't align with what we say, ideologically or democratically, and it looks like we're doing things to get oil or this, that, and the other. It's hard to know why people do what they do in the government, but at least in China, they don't pretend to be political allies. They just want to be economic allies, which will probably create a political friendship. What also is interesting, we'll continue. It says, we are willing to give full play to China's advantages in the market. Wang said the most substantial connotation of China-Latin American cooperation is common development. We are willing to give full play to China's advantages in the market, capital, and industry, and help Latin America to break through the development bottleneck, enhance its independent development capability, and achieve sustainable growth, he said. China has cooperation agreements with 19 countries in Latin America to jointly build the Belt and Road Initiative and promote the optimization, upgrading, and innovation and development of China-Latin American cooperation. So, as I've mentioned previously, they are working on getting the Belt and Road in Latin America, but they also have bilateral agreements with countries that aren't directly signed on to the Belt and Road. Wang said that overall trade between China and Latin America, which has exceeded $300 billion last year, is balanced and has increased by nearly 25% in the first half of this year. Also, over 2,000 Chinese companies have invested in Latin America, cumulatively creating more than 1.8 million jobs for local people. Yeah, and that's all kinds of different jobs. Let's see here. Wang said Brazil is a big Latin American country with global influence. China attaches importance to and supports Brazil's greater role in regional and international affairs. We are also willing to work with Brazil to push for developments in the China-Latin America relations. So, she is supposed to visit Latin America for the 5th time in November, which Wang believes will inject new impetus into the development of the China-Latin America relations. So, once again, China is nothing too new here. China is continuing to invest and befriend countries all around the world, especially those close to the United States. Very smart on their part. I've said so a million motherfucking times. And what's interesting is that it's also part of the Belt and Road Initiative. And so they can probably, they are able to use this initiative to prop up their economic growth and also to build political and economic ties between the countries. The United States needs to wake up, man. Need to wake up on this shit. So, what else? I've had an interesting conversation with a Chinese person. The perspective of the Belt and Road is so interesting because outside of China, a lot of people view it as a debt trap because I think China just recently took something from Kenya. Let me see here. Kenya, China, debt. So China is Kenya's largest lender, accounting for 72% of all its foreign aid. The country is set, blah, blah, blah. This just happened. So where is it? Basically, Kenya had to cede, I think, a port over to China. I might have mentioned this in my last podcast, but because of debts. And anyway, it's funny because outside of China, people kind of view the Belt and Road as more predatory and strategic, but in China, they view it as foreign aid. Talked to somebody today who was definitely referring to all of it as foreign aid. Anyway, it is very interesting perspective, but I think I'm going to cut it short here today, guys. I'm a little bit tired. Just wanted to update you on some things going on in the Middle Kingdom. Everyone, have a great day.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.